better be getting older.
Oh, it's video.
Oh, 3. That's it.
Well. Hello, it's Monday and it's the 1st of July. Cheers, people. Got on my Cod Factory t-shirt. That was a punk club here in town that I played at a few times. Real scuzzy, real necessary as far as, a place for people to come. There's a documentary about it. I'm in the documentary. Look it up. I'm sure it's online. I'm certain it is. So, 1st of July. Tomorrow, the 2nd of July, is my younger sister Adrian's birthday. So, I knew there was a gap somewhere. So, yeah, my older sister turned 72, not 71. And my younger sister Adrian and I will be the same age for a week. She's a year younger than me. And so tomorrow she turns 68. My birthday is next Sunday when I turn 69. So we've always had fun with that, Oh no, we're the same age. What's going to happen? Cheers, people. If you don't mind, I'd like to recap a bit of my weekend. I had a good weekend. I had a social weekend. I do spend a lot of time at home. But Saturday night, I was one of the judges in the Teen Battle of the Bands. This is my second year judging. I'm looking it up right quick. Omaha Mobile Stage. When I was a kid, we had this thing called show wagon. And you folks have show wagons where you live? And I participated in that regularly as a kid. With my sisters and a couple of friends, we had a dance group that would win. We won. And Omaha Mobile Stage, Battle of the Bands. It was fun. And I met a couple of other artists, local artists that I didn't knew of. Just Black is a singer who I've heard about. Finally met him, and it was good to meet him, and we had a real good time. And some of the kids were actually quite good. There was this Korean family who entered their young kids. One was 6, one was 8, and one was 10, I think. And the 10-year-old, they all were brilliant. The 10-year-old played Chopin on piano, and it was like, wow, yeah. But then some of the bands, it's like I was the only judge that actually interacted with the kids, offering some direct feedback and encouragement. But then actually one of the acts was a magician. A kid was, I think it was maybe 8 or 9 at most. And they wanted a judge to volunteer for his act. And of course, none of the other judges were even considering it. So it was me. That was fun. This kid was really good. I tried to watch him closely for his sleight of hand. On the card tricks, he was good. I didn't catch it. He was very good. So I want to share those things, and I also want to share that my good friend Nick and Kat Fackler had the first birthday party for little Faye. That was last night, and I had a wonderful time. I want to share that Nick's circle, this particular circle of people who I'm a part of, although I don't socialize all the time with them because these people are just like party animals, not drinking, but it's like just always going here, going there, always eating together. I love my reception, because it's genuine. The Facklers for sure are like family. They really are. I've known Nick, well, actually the majority of these people, I met them when they were kids, and that's why the bond with some of the folks, besides Nick and his wife, but some of the other people in this circle is really, it's actually really rather tight. And I went to bed thinking this. It's just enough. It's enough love. It's real. These people's regard and love for me, besides my family's, I don't have a partner. I choose single life, and it's not that I can't handle being with someone, but it's a lot of work, and I'm not that interested in the give and take. And so that's enough love. It's enough love to live on because it's real. And David Nance and his wife and son, they showed up. David was surprised, and really happy to see me, which I love, because I could go on. So let me be quiet. It's a good feeling. It's one of the ways that I'm able to sustain myself is knowing I don't have to get caught up in a lot of head trips about what do people think of me and I'm so alone and all that shit. That's all in the head, Cheers. So, folks crying out for me over the weekend is, folks, don't get spoiled now. What is this? Expecting me to make a video every damned day of the week, 7 days a week? Come on, y'all. Get up off of me. When I make them on the weekend, it's because I want to. But frankly, the fact that I do it all week, is mostly because I want to. When I have days where I don't really feel like talking, but I do, usually I'm happy that I did. So, to move towards music, for the first time in over a month, I got a physical sale. Canada. There's some kind of connection with Canada, and I've never been there, which also is interesting because I've traveled, been to Europe, Japan, Mexico, over 40 of the United States, 48 actually, I've traveled through, played in many of them, but I've never been to Canada. But thank you folks for vibing with me in Canada. Let me do a review. Because I got a chance to listen to some of the recent discus and the latest thing that Brian Day sent me. Elowen. Moldy Cushions. I'm sold out of it, so I can't show one right quick. Brian Day is the instrument maker who runs Public Eyesore label that we made a collaborative CD last year. He is quite a dynamic person and very, very creative and on the go. He just got back from Japan and he's just constantly on the go and working. But this is his latest work, Elowen, Moldy Cushions, and it's put out by Flag Day. He didn't even put it out himself, which is is wonderful. It's a wonderful sign. Brian, as an instrument maker and a promoter of the avant-garde and creativity, is fairly tireless in featuring the works of others and collaborating. So it's nice. It feels like he's getting an increase in recognition. I haven't listened to all this, but this is really quite good. Woven Territories is the name of the CD that we made. I'm sold out of it. If you want one, you'd have to get it through the Public Eyesore page. But this is some of his best work. The first song on here, his work is very much concerned with his the process as well as what you hear. On here, it's all his invented instruments, but it's edited. it's not one performance. It's some studio recordings edited with some performances. The first piece comes off like a single, which I think is brilliant because it's a sound work. I'll leave the link so you can go and listen to this. But it comes off like a single. It's like Brian Day is on to something. And I'm super proud to have to be one of his collaborators and friend. We're friends. So I can highly recommend this. You know, folks who like everything from Faust to Aphex Twin to check this out. Elwyn, Multi Cushions, and I haven't even heard the whole thing, but I have a lot of Brian Day's Elwyn releases. He's made several over the years. This is a step forward. It's really, 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 really interesting. Coffee's good this morning. Craig, if you see this, thanks for letting me know where they have some cinnamon nut swirl. I hate to go out that, it may seem odd, but it's me. I hardly go to that part of Omaha if I can avoid it. So we'll see if I go there. I just want to say for the record, when I was working as a mental health social worker, community support worker, I had several clients in that area, and the hypocrisy of people. Here I am coming out here being a worker and an aid to the communities, and some of the open hostility just because I'm black still in this part of West Omaha. It's bullshit. You know, it's probably changed now. Maybe, and maybe not. Kind of like what just happened in Crete, Nebraska, where we had this stupid jerk, and I'll call him a jerk. He tried to kill a Hispanic family, telling them to go back to where they belong, and then he shoots as young as a 3-year-old, shoots a mom in the back, and then the idiot goes and kills himself. So what was that? What the hell? See, that's why I will not be quiet about this stuff. It's madness. We're dealing with idiocy and mental illness with regards to the social breakdown of communication and of this division. It's bullshit. It's ridiculous. To tackle one of the Discus releases, Ron Kane's Martin Archer Axis Practical Dreamers. Ron Kane's was in East of Eden, for you old folks like me who may remember. Martin Archer's been around for a while, and he runs Discus. This is what I'll say about, because it's like there's a lot of modern jazz sensibility to what's happening with Discus music. Not all of it, but this is an example where this is for the listener who wants to be engaged and pay attention to what these folks are doing. Practical Dreamers is a suite of 7 pre-recorded electroacoustic structures composed by Martin Archer with real-time laptop responses created and performed by Irv Perez, which together provide a live improvising environment for the other instrumentalists, I should say, okay? Alrighty? And so it's like it doesn't hit you over the head when it comes on. And it's like it's like kind of like a sink into it, or it's not a rock and roll type of thing. It's deep listening. And I've only listened to a part of it, but it's the sort of thing where you let go and let it do what it's doing, and it will take you places. That's how I can describe my experience of the latest Ron Kane's Martin Archer Axis release. Practical Dreamers. It's good and it's engaging. And the artistry of the people involved is not fake. Which reminds me of another sort of earworm song that's been on my playlist, because I do have a iTunes playlist that I, use when I'm like just gooping around in here. The latest Modern English album, 1, 2, 3, 4. The song off that album, Not My Leader. That's one of my tunes for this year. And it is political without being overtly political, and it's like my anthem this year. You're not my leader, not a one of them. With that in mind, here's another one, which happens to be still sitting out, because I wanted to see what this sounded like on my Real Good stereo out there, since I bought it. The Anja Hub from Exmal Deutschland, her first solo album and new release, Codes. I'm not hearing shit about this in music communities, which is a damn shame. This is deep. She starts this album so personal. It's like, it's really, I think, deep and brave. It's mournful. And the first thing she says, I don't regret anything I've done. I have lived and I have sinned. You ought to want to hear this record, people. This is... And then the second track is when she gives you the stomper that I know is in her because of Exmal Deutschland. Rebenschwarz. Second track. It's killer. There's this video for it too. Video's not much, but the song is killer. Plus it's got the guitarist from Exmal Deutschland. That's the thing I noticed from the very beginning. It's like, that's the Exmal Deutschland sound. So she's got Manuela Rickers on guitar on this. This is very good. Very good. And I ain't hearing, I haven't seen anyone else show this. And I'm in several collecting groups. Man, people get stuck on stuff. So let me just riff, okay? So I like Rick Beato. He is a professional with a lot of experience, but he also loves music. He's also educated, so I like listening to him talk to people. One of the most recent interviews on his channel, second channel, is with Bill Schnee, the engineer who was on Steely Dan's Asia, among many other things. Wonderful conversation. Now, I agree with Rick and everyone that Asia by Steely Dan is a landmark album. I've owned 2 copies, but I don't own it anymore. I don't need to own it. It's because it's so ubiquitous within the music communities. And people just, the people who swear by that record, but don't hardly know about some of this other stuff that I talk about, that stuff gets on my nerves. Because you people don't, you don't know the half of it. Yeah, I have an attitude about it. It's like, yeah, Asia is great, but you haven't heard half of what the fuck is out there. But listening to the interview with Bill Schnee, I loved it because Bill Schnee has been around since the 60s, and he's a storyteller, and he says it, I love telling stories. And he would digress, but he's a good storyteller because he would never lose the point, which is sometimes I do. When I'm talking, I'll digress and I'll forget what I was talking about. But he wouldn't forget. And it's like, man, that's why he's so good as an engineer. Really enjoyed that. You can look it up online. Rick Beato. So many people already know how good he is. Very interesting fellow. Something else that got played all the way through yesterday. Really enjoyed this. This is another one of those classic albums everyone talks about. But if you've never listened to it all the way through, Pet Sounds. And I bet a lot of people, even though they've heard the Beach Boys, I bet there's a lot of people who are into records have never listened to this all the way through. This shows you the creativity and why the Beatles were saying, we got to up our game. This is awesome. And the way that it is sequenced That was another thing that gets talked about in these interviews with professionals, where I just watched the entire 40-minute interview on CBS this morning with REM, where they got together for the first time in years. And that came up, particularly with Bill Berry. I really liked Bill Berry. Remember, I hung out with those guys after playing with them on the Murmur tour. And then the next 2 times they came through on tour, I was their guest, and we would party. And Bill was one of the guys I really connected with. He's really, really down to earth, and that's what he was saying, is some of the real magic comes together. It's magic when you're writing the songs and it's coming together, but when you find the right sequence, bam! And this is a good example of really getting the sequence right. It starts with "Wouldn't It Be Nice?" I remember when that was on the radio as a kid. It's like when I was a kid, as a black kid, the whole Beach Boys, surfing USA, California life, that was foreign to me. It wasn't that I wanted to be a surfer kid. It was just that this music sounded like the America I wanted, that deep down I knew that belonged to me. But even at that time, we were shunned, black people. I'm always talk about this. I don't care if y'all like it or not. But I love this music. I recognize the magic of it. And this album starts with that magical song, "Wouldn't It Be Nice?" And it goes all the way through and ends with the song, "Caroline, No." It's like, whoa, this is a work of art. So that's something that got played. Been showing singles and posting them online in groups, but I'm also playing them. So I enjoyed a bit of Ramones. "You Don't Come Close." Excuse me, I Don't Want You. And again, I've shared how I've met those guys a couple times, to the point that Johnny Ramone acknowledged me from the stage while they're playing, which felt really good, considering he was apparently such a racist redneck. He was good to me. He didn't show that to me at all. And we hung out and chatted. We talked. He was cool. So tomorrow is my sister Adrian's birthday, and say happy birthday to her again. It's already 20 minutes, and I barely talked about music, but I've talked, and I'm here. So, the last thing I'd like to say today is my birthday is coming up. Thanks for this. Order. If anyone is inclined to think about gifting me or doing something nice for me for my upcoming 69th birthday next Sunday, if you haven't bought my music, that would be the greatest gift to both of us, especially if you don't own this stuff. You're missing out. This is some of the best music around, and I don't have the money to promote it properly. I publish my music, but I don't have a publicist, rather. I don't have a publicist that I can afford that can be pushing my products all the time. But this is some good shit. One of the magic moments, I'm going to try to remember this. It will slow down the processing time of the video, but I'm going to try to remember to add this little bit of video from the party last night with Faye and the Facklers. I love them all, and the baby she's just captured my heart. But I wrote a piece of music called "Childhood" and dedicated to Faye, and gave it to the Facklers. And at one point last night, they asked everyone to. Dereck wrote this song for Faye, this music, and it was real touching. Pick up on some of my music. Do, okay? Thanks, folks. I'll talk to you.